When I heard that Suishida made another manga after Tokyo Ghoul, it was like an early Christmas for me. With Tokyo Ghoul being one of my favorite manga of all time and even having some tattoos inspired by it, this immediately piqued my interest. After seeing it was only 58 chapters and I could binge read it in a day, that's what I decided to do. So the story starts us off with our three main characters, Tokyo, Azuma, and Ely. Tokyo and Azuma attend high school, but outside of that, these are crime fighters. After saving a woman from a group of men and breaking their arms in the process, this nigga with this creepy ass smile comes up to them and says, "With this, I can help you." Tokyo and Azuma have been best friends ever since they were little, with Azuma kind of just being somebody Tokyo can look up to and lean on. After dealing with the thugs and saving the woman, they go visit a plane crash that was supposedly done by a Choujin. They realize the plane's been too damaged and burnt up for them to look for anything, so they decide to go home and grab some drinks. But as they're walking home, this nigga Azuma gets backhanded. When I tell y'all my jaw was on the floor when reading this was so unexpected. After being backhanded, we see that it's the same people from before, but whatever drug they took made their arms heal. Azuma starts to fight back after getting his ass kicked a little, but then this nigga turns into Mr. Fantastic.
Naturally you may appeal, but
after realizing the drug he took made him a Choujin, this nigga starts swinging his long ass neck everywhere. He kills his men by wrapping his neck around their face and smushing it. Tokyo takes advantage of the opportunity, taking Azuma and jumping into the water. After getting out of the water, Azuma points out that there's a syringe on the ground. Azuma tells Tokyo he has to take it in order to win this fight. We get a flashback of Tokyo being bullied as a kid and Azuma coming to save him. This would be their first time meeting each other. Tokyo asks Azuma, "From now on, can you help me beat the bad guys?" Azuma agrees to help, and from there on, their friendship was created. Cutting back to the present, we see that Tokyo has also grabbed a syringe, and he tells Azuma, "Somehow I feel like if I don't do this right now, we won't be friends anymore." And this nigga drops this hard ass panel. They both take it, but as they're doing that, Long Neck comes back and attacks Tokyo, and we get another cold panel. He is 2 for 2 right now. And the next thing you know, Long Neck gets sent flying by a punch. And I'm just gonna say, you cannot tell me you do not see the resemblance in Tokyo Ghoul with this panel right here. This looks just like Kaneki when he was in that underground thing fighting. Ely was on the plane crash that Tokyo and Azuma went to go investigate, and she appears to be getting chased by the Smoke Choujin. The plane she was on was blown up by the Smoke Choujin, but as a result of this, Ely seems to have gained his powers, and apparently this is going around trying to make Choujin. After he's about to burn Ely's face off, somebody comes and saves her, and whoever it is pretty strong because the Choujin that was trying to get Ely ran away. Did this put Crimson Chin in his manga? After the fight with Longneck, we see Tokyo carrying Azuma to a hospital. He slips and falls, waking Azuma up, and this is when we see that Tokyo has turned into some sort of bird. Azuma tells Tokyo, "You can't take me to the hospital with you looking like that." He tells him, "Until you can control your own body, you can't come outside." Tokyo goes upstairs and immediately goes in his room, and the scenes that follow kind of remind me of the scenes in Tokyo Ghoul where Kaneki first got his powers and he was learning how to eat and he was kind of depressed. We can see that Tokyo really has no idea how to handle this power or the way he looks, so it's really just stressing him out. He goes outside for a walk and he decides to call Azuma because he hasn't been answering his text messages. And this is when we learn that Tokyo has turned into some sort of vulture. Choujin turned into the form that they most desire. Tokyo asks Azuma, "What do you think I should do? Should I just wait for myself to turn back to normal? Should I think really hard about turning back to normal?" And Azuma tells him, "For once, just think for yourself." Tokyo gets upset and begins to cry, saying, "Sorry, I think I was expecting you to tell me what to do." He tells him, "It's just like you said, I'm pathetic." He hangs up the call and says, "I'll talk to you later." We see that Longneck has apparently been captured by somebody with a mask on. The man with the mask questions him on what happened to the other 2 syringes that he got. He tells him it was 2 high schoolers that took him and one of them turned into a Choujin. Longneck tells him, "I'm not talking anymore. No matter what I do, I can see it in your eyes. You're gonna kill me no matter what." And that's exactly what he does. Seeing as this was just an introduction for the first couple chapters of the manga, the rest of the video is gonna contain heavy spoilers. I'm just gonna be talking about my favorite things in the manga up until the latest chapter. So if you aren't caught up, I suggest you stop the video now. So one of my favorite things about Choujin X is the theme of finding yourself and how Tokyo represents that. Even before the time skip, Tokyo was always questioning himself and he was seen following others and not really having a mind of his own. Going back to chapter 8 where Tokyo and Ely have an interview with Mr. Sandig and he's asking them all these questions, and he asks them, "What is your goal?" and Ely says money, or she just wants to help her grandfather out and stuff like that. But Tokyo, he doesn't have an answer. After seeing Tokyo can't answer the question, Sandig then rephrases the question that asks him, "Do you have a dream?" And he can't think of anything. After this, the interview ends and we see Ely and Tokyo having a conversation, and she asks him, "Do you really not have a dream?" Tokyo responds, "I guess not," and Ellie says, "What's the point of living then?" Tokyo responds, "Do I have to have a dream to live?" Ellie says, "No, you don't. I'm just curious." Cutting to chapter 28 and going to the conversation with Simon and Tokyo, and they're having a conversation about if Tokyo really wants to become a keeper or if he's just doing this because he's being led by other people. And he tells Simon, I don't really have a sense of self. Then he says, but now I feel like I found my purpose. If something bad happens with Azuma, I want to be the chosen who can stop him. Simon tells him, but living shackled to another person like that is limiting. He tells him, why don't you try living for your own aspirations? If you don't, eventually I think you'll embarrass yourself again. Tokyo being stunned and not knowing what to say, I think this is a good wake-up call for him. After the big fight with Zora that took over 7 hours just to get Tokyo back, he decides he wants to quit school, and I think this is a big character change for him at this point. He decides he wants to get stronger and he can no longer rely on other people to come protect him and save him. He goes to the most dangerous part of Nanatsu, Iwato, and my boy comes back looking beat the fuck up. What type of training was he going through? After the 1 year time skip, we can clearly see that Tokyo isn't the same timid boy from before. He's able to speak up for himself and actually able to lead a group now. Another thing I love about Choujin X is the constant callbacks to Tokyo Ghoul, or how it just feels like I'm reminiscing of reading Tokyo Ghoul while reading this series. Like when Tokyo tells Azuma and Ely that he's leaving school, it reminds me so much of Tokyo telling Toka that he's leaving the coffee shop. Azuma is a character that I've really grown fond of, especially seeing what he's doing in the recent chapters. He's just always exciting when he's on the screen, and his ability is just cool as f. Like, this nigga makes a motorcycle out of his ability and then takes the motorcycle apart and with the same parts uses it to attack an enemy. You cannot tell me this shit is not cold. And I don't care what anyone says, I do not trust this nigga at all. Every time he is on the screen, I just get a weird vibe from him, like he's planning something. Like, I almost feel like he's the real mastermind behind all of this and he's just using Tokyo just to get what he wants. With the most recent chapters being about Zora's elimination arc, this is probably my most favorite arc in the series so far. Seeing everybody get their own one-on-one fights and handling it their own way is just cool to me. Going back to when I said that I feel like there's always something going on that the reader just doesn't know about, in chapter 54.3, after Tokyo defeats an enemy, the enemy says, you do not know the most vital part of this. I really can't wait for the conversation between Zora and Tokyo. I know we're gonna get it, we have to. I really feel like once we get this conversation again, it's gonna open a whole lot more background and lore for the series. So that's one thing I'm really excited for. And remember that smoke Choujin at the beginning of the series that was chasing Ellie? Well, this might as well be Dragon Ball Z and he might as well be Frieza, the way he keeps popping up in and out the series. This nigga pops up so many times and only to get his ass kicked, it's hilarious. With that being the end of the video, I'll definitely cover more topics on this series, seeing as there's a whole lot for me to talk about. I still want to talk about the religious aspects and the raise and how it seems like a resurrect, and the power system, how it seems so unique and adds so much to the story. Like Azuma turning into some sort of fighting Choujin because of his desire to fight. I feel like as the series goes on, we're going to learn some crazy stuff about Choujin and stuff that we never even thought was possible within this series. But if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Tune in for the next video, and I'm out. Peace.